All right, I think we are live. I think we're good to go. So a very, very good evening, everybody, and a warm welcome to our Pick and Pay Winemakers Table this evening in partnership with Spier, one of my favorite South African wine estates. A warm welcome to all of you. My name's Dan Nicol, host of, amongst other things, Dan Really Likes Wine, my wine show, which is made in partnership with Pick and Pay, which is a wonderful space because it means every week I get to taste and sample South African wine and pretend that it is hard work. And I thoroughly enjoy it because having traveled the world, having drunk wine all over the world, I'm reminded every time I'm drinking South African wine that there is no better wine in the world when it comes to a combination of quality and value. And tonight you are going to see exactly that. Some extremely well-priced wine, but also wine that compares and competes with anything in the world. Wine from Spier, which if you haven't been down, and it's probably unlikely because if you've done the Wineland, Spier is one of the first places you often get to. It really is an adult's playground for food and wine, from the picnics to the restaurants to the general beauty of the place. It's just a wonderful, wonderful space to visit. And today we get to visit it virtually, as all of you have received the food and the wine to take part in a very special night with Pick and Pay. So welcome to all of you. We've got a few requests of you through the course of the evening. One of them is to go full social media, if you are so inclined to, during the course of the night as it plays out, to take photos of your food, whether it's looking magnificent or whether it's starting burning suspiciously and you've got the fire engine and fire brigade on speed dial. We'd love to see how it's playing out, and we'd love you to tag us in the various social media spaces in which you work, using the hashtags PNP Wine Club as well as hashtag Spier. And 5 of you will be winning 200 Rand worth of Smart Shopper points uploaded to your Smart Shopper card at the end of the evening. So we'll be watching those very closely and looking to see how your evenings are unfolding. We'll also be getting you the company of 2 very special people who I'm going to introduce in just a moment, a chef and a winemaker, and both of them are extremely good at what they do. I would like to say a special thank you to Pick and Pay Online, who've delivered everything to you, as well as the Pick and Pay Wine Club, which I suspect most of you are members of. If you're not, you should be. It's free of charge, and it gets you the opportunity to get huge discounts on wine every month and to explore more wine, to discover more wine, to get a sense of the wonder of wine that we have around South Africa. And that is what these evenings are about, taking some great South African wine, learning a bit more about it, and pairing it up with some great food. And the really cool aspect of the food side of things is that Jonathan, our chef, is a wizard in the kitchen. He's also really good at taking stuff that looks like it's quite complicated, looks like stuff as there goes my power, my apologies, we're load shedding in Johannesburg as well, to be able to take that food, show you dishes, and make them seem so simple. So Jonathan is joining you now as I go and try and find a generator. We also have Deirdre, who's the winemaker out at Spier, who's fantastic at what she does. And together they'll tell you the story of their food and wine, bring them both together, and give you what I hope will be a wonderful, wonderful journey. I shall be back armed with either a generator or a large number of candles in just under an hour. Please enjoy your evening with Jonathan and Deirdre. Please take lots of photos and send them our way, and we look forward to seeing you at the end of this evening with some prizes, but also to celebrate a great hour of food and wine. So Jonathan will head over. You said to Heidi is with us, not Deirdre. Heidi is with us. My apologies, getting my wine estates mixed up, but see you all a little later, and enjoy your evening. Over to you, Jonathan.
Thank you very much, Dan, and welcome to everybody to the Pick and Pay Winemakers Table in association with Spier. We're going to have a fantastic evening tonight. I'm really looking forward to this one. We've got some incredible canapés for you guys to try and make as well, and as well as trying some beautiful wines, really different wines, something quite amazing. We start off with a rosé, we move over to Chenin Blanc, and something a little bit more full-bodied at the end. But you guys will have obviously noticed that you have received your boxes. And within your boxes, you've got all your canapés and all of your little components which you are going to get ready. But in the meantime, while you start putting all of those out, get all of your boxes out, unpack it, make sure that you got your kitchen set up. One of the things that you will need for this evening, if you've got them in your house, is a pan and a stove. So I'm sure that you all do have that at home. If you can, go get that ready. For our second canapé, we're going to be doing some light toasting in a pan. So while you're getting that ready, I'm going to introduce you to Heidi, who is the winemaker at Spier. And would you like to tell us a little bit more about Spier and a little bit about how you came into this position of being the winemaker?
So Spier is one of the oldest wine farms in South Africa. It's dating back at 1692. So that's about 300 years ago. So we have a long heritage at Spier, and we are going to be tasting these three lovely wines. All three of them are from different ranges. So I will be talking about the different ranges. And something that Spier is passionate about, of course, is wine, but also ethical and sustainable farming and fresh produce. And so we try to make wine that complements food. So that's why I'm here.
Amazing. And we can't wait to try the wines. I'm sure that you guys have got your wines in the fridge. It's probably time to take those out of the fridge, the rosé and the Chenin. And yeah, we're going to be trying some three great wines. What wines are we going to be trying today?
So first up, we have the Chardonnay Pinot Noir. It is a rosé because it's a blend of 52% Chardonnay and 48% Pinot Noir. That's the Pinot Noir gives it its pinkish color. And then we have a wooded, more full-bodied Chenin Blanc, which was aged in French oak barrels for quite some time, 14 months. And then we have a full-bodied red wine, which is South Africa's take on a Rhone blend. It's a blend of Shiraz, Mourvedre, and Pionnier, aged for 16 months in mostly French oak barrels. So yeah, let's start with the Chardonnay Pinot Noir.
Amazing. Great stuff, guys. So as we all want to become chefs in our kitchen, we must make sure that we have everything well prepared. For our first canapé, what we're going to try today is a very, very simple canapé, but the flavors are all there and they complement the wine so well. What we're going to be making is a little tartlet with some caramelized onion, a little bit of yellow apple, and we're going to be topping that off with a little bit of shaved mature cheddar cheese as well. Nice flavors, good combination, a little bit of sweetness, a little bit of freshness, and it's going to work really, really well. So as I said, make sure that you got all of your things ready. Take out your apple. We're going to be doing a little bit of slicing and dicing as well. We also will see that you have your little bag of caramelized onions. You've got a little block of some beautiful mature cheddar cheese, gives it a nice little bite, and then you've got your tart cases. So you've got one each. And what we'll do is we'll start assembling these slowly. I'll take you through each little bit by bit, and we're going to be making these beautiful things. As Dan also mentioned, please make sure that you do take photos. We'd love to see what you guys are making at home, as well as put on your camera. I can also see you here. If you do have any questions, you can use the chat box to ask some questions. We've got some guys that'll write them up and they'll hold them up in front of me. I also can read them and ask anything you want. It's all about this interaction as well. So as much as we can chat, you guys can chat to us as well. Right, yeah. So let's try a little bit of wine. So make sure that you take your bottle of rosé, open it up. Obviously rosé, best chilled, right?
Yes, best chilled between 10 and 14 degrees, but I like it really chilled. So let's make it 10 degrees. And first you look at the color. The color is nice, light salmon color. Sometimes they call it onion skin color.
Oh, that's quite interesting. So, it is almost like that, actually.
And so it's nice pinkish, but we call it onion skin. It's nice and fruity. It's a fresh, crisp style. So this wine always reminds me of the summer because you can enjoy it with fruits. And on the nose, you also find flavors of red berries like strawberries.
Yes.
Maybe a little bit of cherry or cranberries, but predominantly strawberries.
So that's lovely on the nose. And yeah, I think that I love rosé. I'm a big fan of rosé. I've made my way through most of the brands, and Spier is definitely one of my favorites. So yeah, pour yourself a glass, have a little sip, taste some of those notes. And while we're doing that, we're going to start making our first canapé. That's delicious. Right, so first things first, I want you to grab your apple because we're going to be starting to do a little bit of slicing and dicing. What we're going to do is we're going to slice a cheek off the apple. So literally you're going to be taking this side of the apple and cutting one little bit of a cheek off. If you want to see it also close, we can get the camera in a little bit. And there's different ways that you can cut it. You can do little matchsticks if you want as well. I like just to do a little fanned little bit of the cheek. So as you can see there, what you'll do is you'll just run your knife diagonally across and just make almost little half moon fans all the way through the apple at an angle. And once you've done that, we'll just cut those in half so that it won't stand up too high. And then we'll set that aside. We'll set that aside, ready to go. And you've got lots of these beautiful little half moon shapes over there like that. And that's just for a little bit of garnish. And the reason why we've chosen this yellow apple is because there's quite a few notes of sort of yellow apple on the nose within this wine, isn't it?
Yes, yes, definitely.
It's got a fresh, fruity flavors. There's lots of different fruit coming out.
Yeah.
And I think that with a little bit of the sweetness of the caramelized onion, it kind of brings out that like nice acidity and nice sharpness as well.
Yeah, definitely. There's some flavors of yellow apple on the nose here as well. So that will complement your food very well. And also this wine is really fresh, eh? It's nice, fresh and crisp. And the alcohol content of this wine is only 12.5%. So it's easy drinking wine. So it should be paired well with your dish.
Good. And summer is coming. So there's now time to stock up on your rosé. Right. So guys, you've got your little tart case. Very, very simple canapé. We're building up to something a little bit. So what we'll do is we're going to take that canapé little tart case and get your little bag of caramelized onions. And you can just pipe that caramelized onion into the bottom of that tart case. You can use all of it if you'd like. Put it right at the bottom. Caramelized onions, very, very simple, but they add a lot of sweetness. You're basically taking your onions, you're cooking it down, you slice it, a little bit of butter, tiny bit of sugar if you want to. Sometimes you can add a little bit of balsamic vinegar if you'd like to, and you just cook it down really slowly. And all of the sugars in those onions start to caramelize and give that great sweetness, which will work really well as well. So, right, we are at the point that we've got our filled tart case. What we're going to do is we're going to take our apple, and that's a nice contrast as well, because you've got your sort of the softness of the caramelized onion, and now we're adding a little bit of a crunch as well of the apple. So we're going to place that in just like that. And then to finally finish off our dish, we've got a little bit of mature cheddar cheese. And I absolutely love cheese. And cheese and wine are a little marriage made in heaven, right?
Definitely. The best pairing ever.
Completely. Cool. So if you've got a little bit of a grater at home, you can use that. If you don't have a grater, you can slice it up if you'd like to a little bit. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to finely grate some of this mature cheddar cheese over the caramelized onion tart. And as I do that, it just falls loosely on the top.
Wow.
There we go. Nice little shavings. And that'll add a little bit of a savory note. It'll also give it a little bit of nuttiness. And basically, that is your simple little canapé. It looks so simple, but it tastes absolutely delicious. I'm not going to be the one that tastes it. I'm going to give it to Heidi to taste, and we can chat a little bit about the pairing. But when we talk about pairings and food and wine, it's very nice to do is I like to have a little sip of the wine first and really sort of taste the notes, really smell it.
Yeah.
And then think about that, and then have a bite of the canapé and see how those flavors kind of go into your mouth and how you taste those. Once you finish that, have another sip, and the wine sometimes changes a little bit, doesn't it?
It does. You get different flavors, and also the nice crispy acidity of the wine will pair very well with the sweetness of your caramelized onions. And any cheese that's kind of fatty, if you have a high acidity wine, it also cuts through the fat.
Yes.
So actually, this one will balance off that easy canapé.
Lovely. So it's time for you to try it.
Try it now.
Of course, you've got to try it. There we go. Have a little taste.
Thank you so much, Jonathan.
Have half a little bite if you'd like. I'm going to have a little bite of this cheese. This is beautiful cheese. Obviously, all the ingredients are available at Pick n Pay. This is a lovely cheese from Klein River, one of the cheeses that you can buy at Pick n Pay. It's a Stanford cheese. It's slightly nutty. It's got a beautiful, nice sort of mouthfeel, creamy. It's lovely. So as home, guys, you do the same. Have a sip of your wine. Take a little bite of your canapé. If you haven't taken a bite of it, please take a photo of it. Because as Dan mentioned, 5 lucky winners are going to win 200 rands worth of Smart Shopper points for the best looking canapé. So we want to see you guys being chefs inside your kitchen. Heidi, what do you reckon?
Oh, I like it because it's not too sweet. Usually if something's too sweet for me, I have more of a salty kind of taster.
Yes.
So I really like it because I thought it was going to be much sweeter. And I like the freshness of the apple coming through, which is a different texture. And yeah, I think it pairs really well. Well done.
Good. I'm glad. So guys, go to Pick and Pay, buy some wine. You can always experiment with different flavors. It's not to say that this canapé is the only food pairing that you can do. What other stuff really, what other food works quite well with a rosé?
So I've made this wine before with salads, chicken salads, seafood salads, or salads with avocado or smoked salmon. There's actually so many options. Even if you try fruit sticks, you know, a fruit stick with different fruits, tropical fruits on it is also very nice, you know, the summer next to the swimming pool. And yeah, actually with any summer salad, this wine really pairs very well with that as well.
Can't wait. Cool. And Heidi, you were saying that you also the winemaker at Spier, and you don't only do wines, but you also are the winemaker for the bubblies.
Yeah, that's true. So I'm a Cap Classique, which is the method Champenois, but we can't call it champagne because this is not France, but it's made in the same way. So Spier also have two different Cap Classiques, a Brut and a Brut Rosé, which we're unfortunately not tasting now. But yes, I make sparkling wines and MCC and also red wines at Spier for the last 6 years now.
That's amazing. And you spent a bit of time overseas going to different wineries and exploring the world of different wines. Where else have you been?
I went to New Zealand after I finished my studies. I went to America and I did a vintage in Champagne as well. And I stayed with the French for a month, making champagne in the cellar, and learned a lot from people, you know, that's been doing it for ages. And just fell in love with it as, you know, time went by and I got to make more wine. So yeah. So
now you've come back to South Africa and you got all the tricks of the trade and you're putting it to good use at an amazing wine farm in Stellenbosch. And as Dan was saying, I'm sure that a lot of you have visited it. It is basically #1 spot on the wine route as you head into Stellenbosch. Is that right?
Yes, it's actually very close by. It's about 35 km from Cape Town. If you take the Baden-Powell off-ramp, and then there's so many activities. There's picnics, there's food and wine pairings as well, and they have different options. And there's a big lawn where the kids can run and have some fun.
That's amazing.
All the parents are having wine. So yeah, it's a really nice going out.
Exactly. And they also you also used to do those sort of outdoor cinemas at one stage as well.
Yeah, we did that, but not at this moment.
Not at this moment, but it'd probably be a good idea considering it's outdoors.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And some lovely restaurants on the farm as well.
Yeah, Vaidas. There's the deli, farm cafe, and they're always open. So it's nice to visit.
Good stuff. Cool. So we are going to maybe look at the other wine, but just before that, I just wanted to chat to you a little bit about this rosé. So this rosé is predominantly a Chardonnay, and it's got a little bit of Pinot Noir. Is that correct?
Yeah. So the Chardonnay is made in the old method just to make a still wine. So no wood, only stainless steel tanks. And then the Pinot Noir came in ripe. And then we left it on the skins for a little bit longer for the juice to extract a little bit of those color from the skins. So we left it, the juice and the skins all together for a couple of hours longer, and then drained off the pink juice, fermented it on its own. And when both wines were made separately, we start blending the percentages.
Okay.
So sometimes your Pinot Noir can be darker. If it's a warmer season, then you get more color in the grapes. So then you have to add maybe a touch little Pinot Noir, but sometimes you can add a little bit more. So it depends on the season. Every season we do the blend a little bit different. This vintage we did 54% Chardonnay and 52% Chardonnay and 48% Pinot Noir. So every year it changes a little bit.
And do you think the color would change, or do you try to keep the color sort of balanced?
We try to keep the color the same way every year, but I don't know if you maybe noticed the color was a bit darker 2 years ago. And we're moving to make it more lighter like this.
It seems like a trend a little bit. I think everybody is trying to create these sort of French Provençal kind of style rosés.
Easy drinking, fresh, and also working towards a beautiful salmon color.
Yeah, exactly. Good stuff. Well, that was absolutely beautiful, and I'm certainly going to go purchase a couple of bottles of that. ready for summertime, sitting by the pool and drinking lots of glasses of rosé. I was saying to Heidi, do you like to throw a little bit of ice into your rosé? She's like, oh, I do. I'm one of those. And I was like, I'm exactly the same. Fill it right to the top, nice and ice and cold. That's the way I like to drink it. Cool. So we're going to move on to the next wine. And as I said, just in preparation for that, I hope you guys have got your pan ready. You don't need any oil in your pan. We're just going to heat it up a little bit. And that's going to be to toast a little bit of a naan bread. So I'm going to pull out my little mobile little stove here, and I'm going to start it up. So the same thing with you guys. If you can also do that, that'd be amazing. We're going to pop the pan on, and in preparation for our second canapé, which is really, really exciting. I absolutely love this one. It works really, really well, and it is with a fantastic wine. And I really am excited to try this one because it is a Chenin Blanc. It's from the 21 Gables range. Would you like to explain a little bit about 21 Gables and a little bit about the wine?
Of course. So this range is called the 21 Gables because on the farm we actually have 21 old Dutch gables on the farm. So, and this is also a super premium range. It's individual cultivars, and also it's always a vintage wine. And this is a nice presentation of what the harvest, delivered us. So it's always a vintage, and we have it in Chenin Blanc, in Vintage, in Cabernet, and Sauvignon Blanc.
Okay.
So the Chenin Blanc is coming from a very old vineyard. Can I pour some?
Of course, I'd love to try. I've been waiting for this.
It's easier to talk about the wine when you can smell it.
Exactly.
So the grapes are close from Cape Town, on the hills of Durbanville, and old wines, 37-year-old bush wines. So no irrigation at all. Those roots are really nice and deep. So no irrigation, all natural.
Cheers.
And this one is more complex than the one we had before. It has more flavors, more concentrated flavors, more ripe flavors, tropical flavors. And also you pick up a little bit of maybe nuttiness, almonds.
Yes.
That comes from the barrel aging. So this wine was in the barrel for 14 months in different size barrels. We use bigger and smaller ones. We use the smaller ones to get a little bit of more wood extraction. And then we use the bigger ones to preserve more fruit. So a combination of that just gives us the perfect kind of concentration complexity in this wine.
Yeah, I think that, when we were making these canapés and I was reading the notes and we were tasting a little bit, it was really interesting to me because I see that Chenins have kind of changed a little bit in South Africa over the years. I think they kind of started off as being quite crisp and fruity and quite simple. And now over the years, I've seen a lot more sort of wooded Chenins come out, some of them more complex and a little bit more sort of bolder and a little bit more flavorful and a little bit more rounder.
Yeah.
And this is exactly, and that's probably because a lot of the time they spend a lot on the oak.
Yeah. Also because we had, we focused a lot on with Chenin Blanc in the vineyards, and it's such a versatile cultivar. Like you can make a still wine, a sweet wine, or you can make a Cup Classique with Chenin Blanc. So there's so many options, and there are certain areas in the Western Cape that delivers some of the best Chenin Blancs, I believe, all over the world. It's already been showing itself. So we have very, very good terroir to make world-class Chenin Blancs.
Yeah.
And this particular Chenin Blanc is a perfect example of that, of what we can do in South Africa. But coming back to this vineyard, it's, during the summer season, you can get really hot in Cape Town, but this is close to the ocean. So this vineyard will actually cool off at night.
Okay.
So it preserves all that nice fresh flavors that you want to capture.
I see.
And we pick the grapes very, very early. And when it comes to the winery, we do selective bunches. So we only select the best bunches. And then we do skin contact. So the juice will be on the skins for a couple of hours. And then you get more extraction of that flavor out of the skins. So we really work with the wine, but nothing is in a hurry, nothing is in a rush. You're just making sure we have all those nice flavors going into the bottle every step of the way.
That's great. And do you think that the wine is a little bit more complex? And what is the difference between bush vine and a normal vine? What is the taste difference that you would get out of the grapes or the wine?
So usually you'll get a little bit more texture, a little bit more body, because what happens with a dryland vineyard, the berries are smaller, the grapes are smaller, so they're a lot more concentrated. And then when you get trellised, sometimes under irrigation, the berries will be quite larger. So, you know, looking at that, it already will give you a totally different wine.
Yeah, I can imagine.
And the skins are sometimes a lot thicker on the bush wines.
Yes.
So they have
Hardier.
a lot more going on in the skins, a lot more tannins.
Yeah.
That will give also that mouthfeel and that little bit of structure on your tongue.
Yeah, and that's definitely what you can taste in this wine. So that's really interesting.
What you want to be doing, you know, if you want to make food and you like just to take a sip of something to complement your food, this is the right wine, because this is a food wine.
Awesome. And this is also going to be one of my favorite canapés that's coming up. We've got a beautiful little garlic naan with some pickled cauliflower, a little bit of spiced apricot, and some really nice crunchy little onions on top. So we're going to start off. We're going to start doing a little bit of cooking. As I said to you guys, if you've got your pan ready, let's heat it up. It doesn't have to be too hot, but we'll probably put it to like a little bit of a medium heat. And we're going to start off with our little naan. So at Pick n Pay, they sell these beautiful, really, really easy little flatbreads, little wraps. They are so super versatile. And what we're going to do is we're going to be creating a little garlic naan with this. So inside your boxes as well, you'll find a little bit of a little bit of a tub with some garlic butter. And what we'll do is we're going to paint that onto the naan, and we're going to give it a little bit of a toast. And while we do that, we've got a question. What does it mean to be a certified heritage vineyard? And I think that Heidi, you're probably the best person to answer this.
Yes. So if your vineyard is older than 35 years, you can apply for the Old Wine Project. So this particular Chenin Blanc is from vineyards that is 37 years old. So the last 2 years, it's been certified as one of the old vineyard blocks in South Africa.
There we go. And so what we're doing now, just to guys to show you here if you want to, you can get a little bit closer if you want to. I've just got a little brush, and I'm going to be brushing on my garlic butter onto my naans. So if you don't have a brush, that's absolutely fine. You can also use a teaspoon, and you can spoon a little bit on. There we go. And just cover the naan in a little bit of this garlic butter. Also, if you don't have a frying pan, which I'm pretty sure that you do, but if you don't, that's absolutely fine. You can also just pop this into the microwave a little bit, just to give it a little bit of a heat. Or you can even, if you're, I don't know, brave enough, you can pop it into the toaster if you'd like. So what we're going to do is we've got our pan that's nice and hot. We've got our buttered naans. I'm going to pop this into the dry pan. Hear a little bit of the sizzle away, and we're just going to toast that ever so slowly. Just toast it until it goes nice and brown. A little bit of charred edges around it, and those charred edges also just give it a little bit of texture and a little bit of flavor as well. And it'll melt that nicely. As I said, you don't need any oil on there, and then that'll go nicely. We've also got a question: how old must the vines be to be certified?
About 35 years.
So how old are these vines?
37.
So you just made it in. Amazing.
This one, 37.
37.
Not all of them, only this one, the Chenin Blanc. Yeah.
There we go.
So can you use any pan to fry these?
On this induction? On this machine? You can't actually. You have to have stainless steel, or aluminium doesn't work.
Oh, is it?
No, exactly. You have to have it's not special, but you just can't have aluminium. It has to be stainless steel.
Okay.
All right. So as you guys can see over here, bring it in a little bit. Can you see that? Nice and sort of charred, a little bit of brown color on the outside. That's nice and done. It's nice and hot. I'm going to turn that over. Also give it a little bit of a char as well. So now it's on to the second step, and I'm going to tell you a little bit about this pickled cauliflower. And the reason why we chose this pickled cauliflower is because it's got a beautiful kind of like curry flavor, and with the Chenin, which is quite bold and creamy, that pickled curry flavor, it works really, really well together.
Yeah. you know, where the creaminess come from the wine. It's like if you ferment the wine in the oak barrels and all these yeast cells go settle down at the bottom of the barrel, it's going through, you know, a process called fermentation. So when it's fermenting, it actually comes in suspension.
Okay.
And then all these cells, they will pick up on the lees and will keep on stirring. So that will also give like a creamier, rounder mouthfeel. So that's where the creaminess comes from.
That's so interesting. I've never actually realized that. Cool. So now we've got our nicely toasted little bit naan. I'm going to pop that down there, take away my pan, pop it over there. And now we're going to be talking a little bit about the cauliflower. Lots of questions today, and I love this. Please keep them coming. Then the other question is, can you pour this oak Chenin into a decanter?
Yes, you can. This wine should be able to, you know, it's already been settling in the bottle for quite some time. It's a 2019 vintage. So usually we decant older vintages wines just to open up a little bit more because it's been a bottle for many, many, many years. So this wine is good without decanting, but you can always try to decant it, but then you have to have the whole bottle because tomorrow probably won't be, you know, ready because you gave
too much
it
oxygen.
too much oxygen, yeah. So a little bit of oxygen is always good, but that amount of oxygen, then you have to have the whole bottle that evening because tomorrow it's not going to be well. But with older vintages, yes, that will benefit from, you know, getting out of the bottle and breathe a bit.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Cool. So we're going to be moving on to our cauliflower, as I said. So what we've done is we've taken cauliflower, little florets. We've taken them off the bulb, and we've just charred them in a pan. So you add a little bit of butter to a pan, give them a nice char so they give it a little bit of brownness onto it. And then what we'll do is we'll put that into a pickling liquid with a little bit of onion, a little bit of star anise, a little bit of pepper, some nice sort of spices, obviously the curry powder, and a little bit of vinegar. And we'll let that sit for a while. It's a beautiful thing to do. You can do it. Pickling is all about preserving. So you can actually make this at home in a big jar, keep it in the cupboard, and it'll stay absolutely fine for a long, long time. So you've got your little container here. This does have some of the pickling liquid in it as well. So what I want you to do is to snip that off and just to drain a little bit of that liquid out, because you don't want all the liquid. This is really just to preserve it. What you want to maintain is just actually the really nice cauliflower, which is just that. So drain out your liquid, end up with your cauliflower like that. And that's going to be the start of our beautiful dish, which is our pickled cauliflower apricot. So once you've done that and you've got your naans that have been beautifully toasted, you're going to place this on top, just in the middle. Doesn't matter how you do it. Just place that on top. It's got a little bit of onion in there as well, which is beautiful. Gives it a little bit of sweetness. There's a little bit of sugar in here as well. It's really quite nice and sort of Cape Malay style. There we go. So place that onto the top. If you want to do another one, you can do too. You've got a little bit extra in your bag, in your boxes. You can do that and place that on top. And then what we're going to do is we're going to start adding a little bit of some other apricot jam. And this apricot jam really also is a great complement to this wine as well.
Yeah, definitely. I think I'm going to pour you just a little bit more wine.
Thank you. I'm not drinking too quickly.
No, not at all. I'm drinking too quickly. No. I just think it will look better.
Perfect. We've got another question. Wine of origin, Cape Town. Does this mean grapes are from the Cape?
Well, this one is a wine of origin Cape Town, and the grapes are from Durbanville and Tygerberg area. So yes, it's very close to the ocean, very close to the Cape. So not exactly sure how far it should be to make it under Cape Town, but it's when it's part of the suburbs, then you can call it wine of origin Cape Town.
Okay, that's it. So now we've got our little bit of a spiced apricot jam. And that's also, when you think about sort of curries and you think about Cape Malay dishes, there's always a little bit of apricot jam, a little bit of sweetness to that. And also the apricots are something that you'll definitely find on the nose of the Chenin as well. So what I'm doing is I'm just going to place 1 or 2 or 3 4 little dollops of our apricot jam around our naan bread, and that'll add a nice sweetness and also a nice little spiciness too. Right, so once we've done that, we're going to be moving on to a little bit of texture. And whenever we talk about canapés or food, it's all about building different textures. If you've got something that's really, really sort of flat and a little bit soft in your mouth, it's kind of a bit nah. You want to add something that also adds a bit of texture. And so we've got these really great things called little crispy onions. Super, super simple. All they are onions that we have sliced, and we've added a little bit of salt and a little bit of sugar, and we've just dehydrated them. So dehydrating basically also another good preservation method, but what it does is it intensifies all the flavor, and all you'll need to do is you'll need to place these onions, little shavings, or the onions into an oven of about 80 degrees for about 4 hours until they're really, really soft and really, really crisp. And that adds a great texture to this as well. So good Cape Malay flavors here. We've got a beautiful Cape wine, good complex flavors, and we're going to add that to the top as well. A sprinkling of these little crispy onions on top. And believe me, you're going to absolutely love this one. This is one of my favorites. And I think with this wine, it's going to complement it extremely well. Yeah. And you're in for a treat, Heidi.
I love having curry with this wine. Yeah, especially yellow curries or Indian curries. Also, duck breast pairs also well with this. And caramelized onions. I see that anything that's nutty and spicy. And also a little bit, if something's a little bit more fatty as well, it also helps because this one has a very nice acidity.
It does have a nice acidity, and that's also probably why you're saying that duck breast works so well, because on a duck breast you've got that nice layer of fat.
Yeah,
and so
exactly.
This would cut through nicely on that layer of fat.
Definitely, yeah.
Amazing. Cool, guys. I hope that you have made your canapes as well. Please take a photo of it. I'd love to see. As I said, I can see most of you guys are in the camera over here on my computer. Please take photos. As Dan mentioned, and as we want to make sure that you do 200 Rand Smart Shopper points to 5 lucky winners. So take pics, share it to your social media. Heidi, would you like to try this one?
Yes, of course.
There we go. Take the whole one. You can give it a little turn if you'd like into like a taco style.
I love to do this. Thanks.
Perfect. Cool. Yeah. So, I mean, also, as I said, when it comes to wine pairings,
that's really good.
It's good. It's good.
Yeah.
It was one of my favorites.
Wow.
And yeah, the curry flavor comes really through nicely. So as we were saying, a little bit of a sip of the Chenin Blanc, a little bit of the taste of the canapé. Roll it around in your mouth if you want to. See how those flavors mix and marry together nicely. And then see what it's like when you taste it afterwards as well. I think that the wine works extremely well.
This is delicious. I love this.
Good.
It's my type of food. Wow.
Yeah.
Well done. I really like this.
So if you didn't want to toast also the naan, that's absolutely fine. You could have made it into a little taco if you'd like to. Then roll it around, make it into a taco. You can stick a little skewer into it. If you want to make it a little bit of freshness at home as well, you can add maybe a little bit of yogurt to it, maybe a little bit of mint if you wanted to, maybe a little cucumber, a little bit of chopped tomato. So experiment. It's all about trying new things, trying new wines, seeing what works well for you. And that's what, you know, Pick and Pay is all about in the Pick and Pay Wine Club. It's about opening up wines to as many people as possible, getting people to try, work things out for themselves. And that's what we like to see. So any suggestions you guys have, if you tried something different, if you want to add something, go right ahead. You guys are the chefs this evening, and we would love to see a little bit more about what you guys are doing. Loving the questions as well, so keep them coming. We'd love to hear a little bit more about your evening. So yeah, you're enjoying that.
I like the cauliflower. It's so nice and flavorful. So how did you exactly get it that way?
So as I said, what we've done is we've just got raw cauliflower. You either can roast it in the oven or you can put it into a pan. Obviously, when you're doing a pickle, it's nice to add. For a pickle, you've got a basic ingredients. You've got vinegar, you've got sugar, you've got salt, and a little bit of aromatics. So the aromatics that we've used generally are some pepper. You can also use a little bit of cinnamon if you'd like. You can use a little cumin, and then obviously the curry powder. So you'd cook that down in the pan. You'd roast it a little bit just to get that nice charred flavor, and then you would put it into the pickle, and you can leave that for as long as you want. It's quite similar to as if you were making pickled fish as well. So the same way you'd make pickled fish, you'd cook the fish, a little bit of onions, a little bit of curry powder, a little bit of the aromatics, leave that in a jar, hot if you'd like, and then you can seal that. you can keep that for months on end.
Yeah, nice.
Good. Amazing. All right, we'll take away our little bit of our kitchen over here. And we are going to move on to our final wine of this evening, which I'm also very excited to try because it is a blend. It's something different. It is part of the Block 3, is that right?
Yes, so we have actually 3 wines in this range called the Creative Block 2, 3, and 5. So the 2 is a typical, is a version of a white Bordeaux, and the 3 is a version of a Rhone blend. So Rhone blend is usually it's based with Shiraz.
Okay.
And then we've added another Rhone cultivar called Mourvedre, and then just a touch of Vineyard, which is a white wine grape. And then this one we're going to be tasting now, but then we have a Creative Block 5, which is a Bordeaux.
Okay.
So the Bordeaux will be in a different shaped bottle. We talked about it just now. Will be a longer, straighter bottle, more narrow. And this is a round bottle, usually is this shape. Okay, so traditionally it should be in a bottle like that.
Is it always in a bottle like that, or do some people follow the rules, or is it why is it just it's a tradition that people like to stick by?
In France, in Rhone, it will definitely be bottled in a bottle like this. I think it has to apply to their rules. But in South Africa, we can pretty much do what we want. But we're very traditional at Spier, and we like to do things, you know, that we believe is right.
Yeah, absolutely.
So yes, but this wine comes from selected vineyard blocks from different areas in the Western Cape. Some of it close to Darling, some of it in Stellenbosch. And we selected the best blocks and the best vineyards for this blend. The majority being Shiraz, 94% Shiraz.
Okay.
And then 5% Mourvedre, and the rest 1% Vineyard. So why would we add white grapes to red wine, or white wine to red wine?
That's what I wanted to know. I didn't actually know that this was even possible, or that people did it, or the winemakers did it, but you can, yeah. You
can, but it's so little. And you know what it actually does? It just opens up the wine. With the Shiraz, you have a lot of deep berry flavors, dark ripe berries, and with adding just a little bit of Vineyard to it, you know, makes it more florally and also opens up the wine a little bit.
Yes.
So it just merges very well with the wine.
Yeah.
And then you can do the Vineyard. We add the Mourvedre, because a Mourvedre usually have a good acidity, natural acidity. So that will add freshness to the blend. But
okay.
There's a certain way that we do things, but you know, sometimes some vintages we use different percentages, because
yes,
then the Mourvedre is not that fresh, and you blend in maybe a little bit less and a little bit more Shiraz. So every year we blend and we try and we taste.
Yeah, so I mean, that's interesting as well. So I mean, obviously a 2017 would be very different to, or not very different, but different to a 2016 or 2017.
Yeah, definitely, yeah.
And that's just purely because of you know, you try to stick to the same grapes, but you just would change the amount that you would put into it. Would it always be a Shiraz, a Mourvedre, and a Vineyard?
For our Creative Block 3 will always be those 3 varietals.
Just maybe at different levels depending on the percentages of the grapes.
Yeah. And we use mostly French oak, but 10% American oak for this blend. And we'll taste all the barrels individually. And if the barrel's not good enough, it won't go into the blend. We only the best barrels will be selected for this wine. So this wine has won many accolades because there's a lot of detail that goes into this.
Yes.
We make the 3 wines separately, and then we select the best barrels out of those 3 batches to make this wine. So it's a whole process.
Yeah.
And it takes about two years, you know, from producing it to releasing it in the bottle.
Yes. So how long does it spend in the barrel?
16 months.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then after the barrel? After the
barrel, we blend all the barrels together, make one wine.
Okay.
And let it settle quite a bit and do the final fining before bottling. And then when it's in the bottle, it must rest again.
And then does it rest before it gets released?
Yes.
It's a whole lot of resting. It's a little bit of a lazy wine.
The thing, you know, you can't rush good wine.
No, that's true.
So one thing that wine has taught me is patience, because I don't have a lot of it. But yeah, it's good wine takes time.
For sure. Of course it does. And we are going to pair this with another lovely canapé, something which is going to also be quite sort of complex, and there's a lot of different flavors coming out there. We've decided to go with a cured beef, and that cured beef, we have rolled it in a bit of black pepper. And that black pepper really sort of brings out the peppiness also of the wine.
Yeah.
And also what we're doing is we're putting it onto lavash. And lavash basically are these little bread crisps that you'll find in your box. Really, really simple, easy to make at home. And we've just simply made it at home, made it in the kitchen as well. And I'll give you the recipe. It's literally flour, eggs, a little bit of butter, and salt and pepper, salt and sugar. So there isn't any raising agents in it. And lavash typically is, you can try a little bit if you want, is a sort of Middle Eastern bread. It's got crisp to it. And it would work quite nicely as a base to any sort of canapé that you want to do it. You can bake big sheets of it and sort of tear it off as you would, and it makes these beautiful little crunchy little bases.
It's nice and salty.
Nice and salty, exactly. We put a little bit of salt on the end as well. And also with the saltiness, we're also going to get from our cured beef. So if you want to get all your components ready for your final canapé, we have the cured beef on lavash with a little bit of pickled baby onions, a little bit of pickled mustard seeds, a little bit of fennel chutney, and we're going to finally end it off with a little bit of Dijon mustard. So we've left the chefy one for next, and we're going to teach you guys how to do this yourselves. Okay, so different components, and I'll explain all these different components to you, and they're all there for a reason, because they all have great notes which are going to work well as well. So they're going to come together nicely, but individually they work really well as well. So we have our lavash, we've got our cured beef, we've got our fennel chutney, which basically is your fennel bulb that you've sliced finely, a little bit of sugar, cooked it down as well. And we've got our little pickled mustard seeds, simple mustard seeds, put into a little bit of vinegar. They add a little bit of pop. It's almost like a little bit of sort of caviar almost, kind of pops in your mouth. Yeah. Okay, so I want everybody to follow me deeply and concentrate on this one, because this is going to be your proper chefy little one as well. Okay, so lavash down on your board. I'm going to bring the camera in a little bit so you can see exactly what I'm doing. I want to make two at the same time. All right, we've got our beef, which we're going to slice. I'm going to move that out the way for you so you can see. There we go. And we're just going to slice this beef, thin little slices, if you will. This beef is a beef fillet, simple beef fillet that you can get at Pick n Pay. It's rolled in a little bit of sugar and salt mix and crusted with a little bit of black pepper. And you leave that to rest, crusted in that cure for about 48 hours. And what that does is it draws all the liquid out of the meat, intensifies the flavor, and gives it a little bit of a saltiness. It's almost like a little bit of a biltong.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can try some as well.
Thank you.
Pop that there for you.
Thanks.
All right. So we're going to place that onto our lavash in any way that you'd like. I like to kind of do it at different angles to make sure we've got a little bit of a height. And we'll do that the same way there. And this is really about building a beautiful canapé.
Yeah.
All right. Then we're going to get our teaspoon. Can you guys, yep, you guys can see perfectly. I'm going to get my little teaspoon and put one or two little dollops, of our fennel chutney on as well. A little bit of sweetness. And that fennel chutney is certainly one of the notes that you will get out of the wine as well. So that's going to work perfectly. There we go. So, guys, I'm going to let you catch up at that stage. Make sure that you've got your lavash on your board. Make sure that you've got your cured beef on and a little bit of your fennel chutney. And the last two little bits and pieces which we're going to do is going to be the pickled onions and the pickled mustard seeds as well. Great, we've got another question. I do love questions. Do you do the lavash in the oven or a pan? You do it in the oven. You can also do it in the pan. There's two ways of doing a lavash. The lavash, which is a softer lavash, which you can do in the pan. and that will make it almost like a soft bread, which you can do, and you can like put some meat into it or some vegetables in it and roll it up. Or you can do a lavash, which is more of like a mud sauce kind of crispy bread, and that you'd put into the oven and you'd bake at about 180 degrees, I would say, for about 10 to 12 minutes. And that's where you're going to get that beautiful crust. Okay, cool. So guys, you guys, I hope you have caught up a little bit. Then what we're going to do is, this is where we're going to get a little bit chefy. There we go. We're going to get our pickled onion. And if you can, camera, just bring it in a little bit here. You see what's so fun about this is that you see in the onion that they've got all of these beautiful little petals inside. So if you take out these little petals, you'll see you've got a little cup, basically. A beautiful little cup that looks like that. There we go. Those little cups are so beautiful and delicate, and that's what we're going to use to put onto our canapé, those beautiful little cups. So you peel away the layers of the onion. You have all these different layers, and you're going to place that onto your lavash into the corner. There we go. And then within that, that is going to be the vessel for your pickled mustard seeds. So you can take a few of these little pickled mustard seeds and you can place them. I'm going to turn this board around so you can see me doing that over there. There we go. Can you see? Let's bring that in if you want to the camera. Perfect. There we are. And what we're going to do is we're going to place a few of these little mustard seeds inside there, inside that. And this, my friends, is going to be a 5-star canapé. We've left the chefy one for the last. You guys are going to be so impressive if you do this for your friends at your next little dinner party. It is really, really good flavors, these little pickled onions. There we go. And if you're wanting to know how to make the fennel chutney, also very, very simple, very similar kind of process as you would make a normal chutney, is you'd get your fennel bulb, you'd slice it very, very thinly, and you'd put that into a pan with some butter and you'd soften it up. Then you'd add your sugar, a little bit of salt, and a little bit of vinegar, and a little bit of water, and you'd cook that down slowly but surely, until it starts to caramelize, so all those flavors come together. You can obviously add within that flavor a little bit of spices if you want to. Star anise works well, a little bit of cinnamon, a little bit of black pepper, even a little bit of Szechuan pepper if you'd like as well. Same kind of thing because of the sugar content in there, and also because of the little bit of vinegar that also is a preserve, and that will stay for a very long time. So you guys are almost there. The last little coup de grace, something that's going to add a little bit of a bite, is some Dijon mustard. So we're going to slice the tip off our, there we go, off the piping bag, and we're going to do 1 or 2 tiny little dollops of our Dijon mustard, and that's going to be a little bit of beef, Dijon mustard, a little bit of the mustard seeds. It's almost like a little bit of a roast beef on a canapé. It's beautiful. It's looking good. I guarantee you it's going to taste delicious. Please, we would love to see how you guys are doing at home. Please take some photos of that as well. And now we're going to taste the wine. So,
sorry, I must fill up again. So yeah, I've been enjoying this wine for quite a while now. This wine will really pair well with that because something meaty always pairs well with a wine that is full-bodied. It has lots of extract, and this wine also has a little bit of pepperish, aromas coming through because the Shiraz come from a vineyard close to the ocean.
Okay.
And you also pick up like hints of fennel.
Yes.
Predominantly, it's obviously your dark berry fruits coming through, but there are hints of fennel coming through as well.
Yeah, definitely on the nose.
On the nose.
Definitely.
Yeah. So that's very interesting. But this wine in general is just, it's been on the skins for 2 weeks fermenting. And then afterwards pressing the grapes went right to the barrel for 16 months in mostly French oak and then 10% American. We left it there for 16 months and blended all the barrels. It sounds very easy, but there's a lot of stuff happening in between. But this wine also pairs well with curries, like
Okay.
not too spicy Indian curries.
Yeah.
I'm a big fan of curries, so I
Yes.
make curry often in winter. And I've tried it with some Indian curries, mild curries, really nice pairing option. Also pork belly, very good option
Yeah.
to enjoy this with pork belly. And then steak, beef, fillet, yeah.
Absolutely. And obviously Shiraz is generally, they've got some spicy notes in them. So they do generally pair quite well with something that's not too spicy, but has a little bit of a spice to it. And that's why the curries probably work out quite nicely as well.
Yeah.
Fantastic. It's time for you to try a little canapé. It looks beautiful.
Sure.
I guarantee you it's going to taste delicious and it's going to work really well with that. It's got peppery notes from the beef. It's got its little bit of spiciness from the fennel chutney. It's got those that will bring out the notes as well of that of the wine as well. And it's got a nice crunch as well. So a little bit of saltiness, a little bit of spiciness, a little bit of vinegar, a little bit of bite, and it looks beautiful as well. So tell us what you guys are doing at home.
Wow.
We'd love to see as well. But please try this at home because, as you said, because things are so simple, it doesn't have to be complicated. You must try, experiment. It doesn't have to be exactly the same as this, but to me, it works.
I really like the saltiness of the beef coming through. It's really nice and it's easy and a lot of flavors. It's amazing.
It is the more chefy one, and that's why we left it to the end. And we'd love to see what you guys can do there as well. So yeah, I mean, it's been a journey through something. You know, generally when you do a wine pairing, you go for something which is lighter, a little bit more sort of full-bodied, and you end up with something which is a little bit more robust. And this is what this Shiraz is. But actually, the Shiraz is very smooth for a Shiraz.
Yeah, it is very smooth. We try to work with the grapes in a way that the wine is more smooth. Sorry, I'm just enjoying this so much.
Good. Well, I hope you guys are enjoying this as well. Please let us know what you think about it. If you've got any questions, please ask as well. Inside your box, you'll also find, you guys are very lucky, you'll find a voucher for 100 Rand off the wines at Pick n Pay. And that is for the online store. So all you need to do is go online, use your 100 Rand voucher as well. And over and above that, you also get 30% off these wines until the 7th of November. So go in store, 30% off these 3 wines. Then if you go online, you get an extra 100 Rand off those wines as well. We're using your vouchers. So extremely lucky. Good to be a Pick n Pay Wine Club member. And make sure that you please do go onto social media and post those pictures, because as mentioned, there's 5 lucky winners who are going to win 200 Rands worth of Smart Shopper points using the hashtag PNP Wine Club as well as hashtag Spier. So guys, post your pictures and I'm sure that you guys are going to win, because I've seen some of what you guys are doing on screen and it's looking very impressive. So thank you very much for joining us, and thank you, Heidi. I've thoroughly enjoyed this. I've really enjoyed these wines.
Thank you, Jonathan. It's really nice to taste all your canapés, and I think I've learned some tricks. Only have to try it now.
Exactly. Try it at home. Try different things.
It's easier now.
It's easier now. Exactly. And that's what it's all about. It's trying, experimenting, choose different wines, go out to Pick n Pay, buy a huge amount of wines, taste with all your friends, try do a little bit of food pairing as well. And I'm sure that you will be the master chef at home. So thank you, everybody. And we hope to see you at the next one, which isn't too long. Make sure that you check out for those links as well and subscribe to that too. And we will see you next time. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, over to you.
Oh, there we go. Congratulations to a fabulous team there. Well done to Heidi, well done to John. Thank you both very much indeed. Just having a flick through all of the questions, all of the comments. Gee, there's loads of them. How are you guys cooking and typing at the same time? I cannot do that. You guys are very multi-talented. Just having a look at some of those. I see Marali loving the pink wine, and I think rosé is such a great discovery at the moment. The days of rosé being a sickening sweet wine are long gone. The savory and subtle nature of it are just fantastic. Kevin Johnson asking how old vines have to be certified old vines. 35 years or more, Kevin. Katie Bailey, can you pour this oak Chenin into a decanter? You can give it a little bit of extra oxygen. It certainly won't hurt it at all. A couple of the other questions coming through. Sandy, mine don't last long enough to decant. Well, suppose you're decanting it into yourself, Sandy, so it almost counts. Katie mentioning wine of origin Cape Town. That's the area that stretches from Constantia through to Durbanville. Kevin, can you cellar a Chenin? You certainly can, and even if it is a screw cab actually gives you probably a better chance of keeping it really well for a longer period of time. So a few more years, and that Chenin's going to be even better. Lots of people wanting the pickling recipe, so Ricardo, who is Pick n Pay's head of pickling, will make sure that recipe gets out to everybody. Sandy surprised by how much she loves the cauliflower. I thought that was terrific. The fennel chutney, Marley wants that recipe. I thought that was brilliant, and the fact that it brought out some of that Shiraz as well, just accentuated some of the subtler and gentler touches to it, I think was fabulous. I know a few of you struggling a little with power, so thank you for making the best of it, and just generally all of you having a great evening and sending some terrific feedback, which means I hope you'll be joining us again. And again means the 25th of November when we are with Krona and tasting some bubbles from Tulbach and the house thereof. They only make bubbles out at Krona, and you're going to be in for a great food and wine experience there. Somebody asking about how you put together the voucher when you go, that discount on the wine. It's already loaded onto your Smart Shopper card, so you buy any of these wines and that extra discount will automatically come through if you're off to get them and enjoying some more of those terrific wines you've had this evening. So I think you've won tonight just by being part of it, by having some great food, some lovely wine, and learning how to make 3 terrific dishes with Jonathan. But there are some other winners. Some winners are each getting a 200 rand voucher, or 200 rands worth of Smart Shopper points. These are our lucky 5 from social media, and thank you to all of you who have posted pictures. And they are Morgan Barry, Ntando Tukwana, Nomta Gray, Denira Varma, and Kristen Vanikirk. So congratulations to all 5 of you, and well done. There will be an added 200 rand worth of Smart Shopper points sitting on your card. I reckon you should invest that in wine, because remember, if you are a member of the Pick n Way Wine Club, it is 3 times the Smart Shopper points when you are buying any of the 25 million bottles of South African wine Pick n Pay have committed to getting on shelves this year. Now, if you have a look in the message box, there is a Winemakers Table survey. We'd love you to take that survey, find out what you liked. Maybe there are a couple of things we could do a little better. We'd love to get the feedback, constructive criticism, or just telling us you really enjoyed it. Either way, please, if you have a moment, do take in that survey. Please join us again at the end of November, and a big thank you again to Heidi and to the team at Spier for their support this evening, to the team at Pick n Pay Online and the Pick n Pay Wine Club, to Ricardo, our head of pickling, who's also been running things back in the studio in Cape Town, and to all of you for taking time out this evening to support South African wine, to pair it up with some great food, and being part of a wonderful online community tonight. It looks like you've enjoyed it. I certainly have. I really hope you guys have too, and we see you again virtually soon. And who knows, maybe next year we'll be back to some Winemakers Tables in person. Enjoy the rest of tonight. Enjoy the rest of your wine. 3 great examples from a wonderful South African wine estate, and what a way to enjoy your Thursday. I'm Dan Nicol from Dan Really Likes Wine. Please do head over to Dan Really Likes Wine and have a look at the wine videos and the wine content we have. If you'd like to learn a little bit more, we have a lot of fun, but we also drink some terrific wine, as you guys have done tonight. Big thank you to all of you. Enjoy the rest of your evening. We'll see you at the next one. Take care and goodbye.